Yeah, so start of the season, got some sample spools of the new Mastiff fluorocarbon, and you know, fluorocarbon is, I've tried it all. Some of it's not very good. When you hear Shimano branded stuff, it's coming from Japan, so that's a plus. Usually the Japanese tackle is the best. It's high quality, and yeah, it's been awesome. It hasn't let me down. I've been using it all season, and nothing but good things to say. The last tournament of the year at the St. Lawrence River, I ended up, the first day the wind blew really hard, I ended up putting a chatterbait on, going shallow, and just had to salvage my day. And I hooked one of the biggest smallmouths I've ever caught. I thought it was a 4-pounder. And the St. Lawrence River fish, I mean, they're built different. I get this thing and it's digging under the boat, so I didn't see it that good. I saw it when it jumped way out there, and it digs and digs and digs, does its thing, and it's sort of starting to give up, and it's going to come up to jump. So I just time it, and I boat flip this thing, and I get it on the gunnel, and it teeters, and I see how big it is, and I get it in the boat. But it was a 6-pound smallmouth, and I boat flipped it on 20-pound Mastiff. So that's as good a test as I've ever, could have put it through. And again, nothing but good things to say. Got 4-pound test up to 20. I use a ton of 8 and 10 for a lot of the, I love smallmouth fishing and do a lot of walleye fishing around home. Use a ton of 8 and 10. And then, all the 12, 14s, 18, 20, I mean, on the casting rods for all, jerk baits, chatter baits, spinner baits, flutter spoons. I mean, yeah, we've got it sort of covered for every application, and I've used it for everything. It's been awesome. Obviously, with fluorocarbon, the line diameter is pretty important. You don't want it, we're using it for a lot of, like for me, I'm smallmouth fishing, I'm using a lot of finesse techniques, so I want my baits to look as natural as possible. So I want to use as light a line as I can that's still strong enough to set hooks and battle big fish and all that stuff. So the diameter on it is comparable to the best fluorocarbon that I've ever used in the past, and I think they've done a good job with it. I don't even think about it because it's been, I've had no issues. For me, I fish so much, I can use something for 5 minutes, and if it sucks, I don't want it. And so obviously, like the casting, the diameter, it's crystal clear, that's all good. But for me, the number one thing, fluorocarbon has to be strong. If it's not strong, I don't want it. And this stuff's been really good. I mean, in the Classic, we're not allowed to use nets in the Elite Series. In the Classic, I boat flipped a lot of the fish I caught on 8 and 10-pound test. I mean, kind of brave. You time it when they jump and all that stuff. But yeah, it's been bulletproof. Hasn't failed me at all. Obviously, pretty much all of my casting rods, I'm putting straight fluorocarbon on them. And other than a few, we go to Florida and we're punching math, right, using braid. I throw chatterbaits a lot, so obviously I'm 18 or 20 pound, usually 20, and I've used that for a long time. And the Mastiff's a little bit thinner than some of the other 20s out there, so it just performs really well. I can make a long cast. Flutter spoon's been one of my favorite techniques. It's kind of under the radar a little bit. You want to use straight fluorocarbon for that. Just a little bit more give than if you were using braid. But this stuff's sensitive. I mean, it's changing the way we fish a little bit, for sure. But I have Mastiff on all my casting rods pretty much, other than, like I say, a few that I'm running braid on. Like for me, as much as I'm fishing, I want line that's bulletproof. I don't want to have problems with knots. I don't want to have problems with abrasions or casting or line twisting. And this stuff, I mean, it comes off the spool like straight. You can tell how beautiful it looks. It's the way it's lined up on the spool when it's fresh. And just performance-wise, like I just use the stuff, and it's been really, really gold. Like yeah, I love it. It's going to be, I'm going to use it for a long time, and it's the best fluorocarbon I've ever used.